money should bring money.
Yes.
Money should make babies.
There is a myth that, Dubai is a lawless country or Dubai has no rules. Yeah. With your experience, what is your take on that? So it's just a myth that people come to Dubai only for the tax saving reasons. It's not that. It's like you said. Give me a figure here. Yeah. And this is going to be a figure based on general terms. We cannot, everybody has specific requirements, but let's generalize this. One figure in your bank that is good to take care of you for your lifetime.
Look, if you have less than...
So you're in the cash flow camp rather than cash is king camp.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah? Okay.
So, because cash flow is like the...
Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Dubai Uncovered. Today we're going to be talking about banking, we're going to talk about law, and we have a very, very important and acclaimed guest with us who's an expert in international finance and international law. Igor, welcome to the show.
Thank you for inviting.
So if you can just give us a little brief about yourself to our guests, that would be a great start.
It's very simple. I have more than 25 years experience in law and finance. I have two main specialties: accounting, meaning international financial reporting systems, and law. And all of this from business law perspective, meaning that I'm specialized in project finance, acquisition finance, merger acquisition, and so on. Everything related to international business transactions, which might need any company around the world. Our law firm has more than 24 offices worldwide. We are not a very big law firm, but let's say middle. In
24 offices is quite big.
We just opened a new office in New Delhi,
very nice.
in India. Mm-hmm. And we are trying to have a footprint on this Middle East market, which I appreciate a lot. I've been working in big projects. We have Fortune 500 clients. I just calculated that the total amount I worked in the project was around 5 billion euro.
Very nice.
Yeah. And I love my job. So what should I say?
Amazing. So let's jump right into it. There is a myth that, Dubai is a lawless country or Dubai has no rules. Yeah. With your experience, what is your take on that?
Look, people which are thinking that Dubai is a non-rule country, they're making the biggest mistake in their life, because Dubai is very good regulated country. Agreed. But we need to understand something very important. There is regulation and over-regulation.
Yeah.
And always, law, they have different stages. They have elaborating of regulations, then implementing of these regulations, and then making sure it works.
Yes.
For example, I'll tell you from the perspective of European country, from Germany. This country is over-regulated. If we'd like to make a small company, to open a startup, then you have to comply with a lot of rules. And this is okay. But Germany doesn't just ask you to comply with, they're also asking to make sure you are respecting every law they are implementing. So now, in Dubai, I love it because the system is very clear. It's very simple, it's very safe. In the meantime, I believe the stakeholders in the market or government, they're not looking to punish you the first your failure. They may be waiting 1, 2, 3, 4, 10. And if you did not understand, because what's the effect of the law? What should be the educational, let's say, consequence of people which are not complying with the regulations? Should be to educate them to not repeat it again. So if you take a person and put in a very, very bad condition prison, will he be educated or not? Of course not. First thing. Second, if you take 1,000 people which are not complying with regulations and you put them in prison, first of all, you need to pay for them. You need to pay food, you need to pay stay, you need to pay security.
There's a cost to that.
Yes, I had a case with in our company, and we were thinking, okay, if you breach the law, you go to stay in prison. The cost of maintaining this guy in the prison is around, 150 euro per day.
Yes.
In the meantime, this country we worked in, they don't have enough money to pay the same amount to a child without parents. So
Wow.
you see the difference. And coming back to your question, Dubai is not a non-rules company. Dubai is very well regulated. It's up to every investor or visitor of the country to make sure they comply with these regulations and say a big thank you for these nice regulations and for not punishment at the first mistake.
Perfect. So that's the reason you say that a lot of European businesses and European nationals are also considering Dubai as a place to work and live
course.
because of these
Of course.
very, very strict compliances that are there back in Europe.
Yes. Look, I would say they have many reasons why they moved to Dubai.
One of the reasons.
From my experience, my clients, my investors, they are moving to Dubai because they don't see Dubai anymore like a desert in the Middle East. They see Dubai as a country with multinationals. It means they're coming here for Germans, for English, for Americans, for Indians, so they see like they're feeling in a network of multinationals, and they can do business with them. So you might, for example, I've met in the last few weeks more German clients here than in Frankfurt. So,
sorry to interrupt you, but that is traditionally what has happened over the past 3 to 4 years is that you've seen a lot of, especially Germans, Austrians, move to Dubai. Either it's for investment in real estate, or it's for setting up their businesses, or just permanently moving here to kind of reduce their tax burden that they pay in their home countries.
Look, I don't think this myth with the tax burden is the main advantage. I'll explain you why.
Okay.
Because look, we have all iPhones, yeah? When you buy a subscription plan in Apple Store, what your receipt is saying, thank you for paying to the Luxembourg company, right?
Yeah.
So do you think Apple or other companies that are paying too much taxes through the structures? So it's not only tax burden, because if it would be only this, then this would be like a bad strategy. But this is somehow on the top of all advantages an investor has. Even if you have a dispute in a high risk country with a business, you go to the local courts, right?
Yeah.
And you are not sure if these judges are, let's say, with high integrity.
Right.
What's happening here? The judges they have high integrity. They also have like free zones where you can take your dispute in. So, and not only taxes. So taxes, the return on investment you make is much higher. Then I would say the infrastructure is great.
Very good.
I was late to your podcast now. I just called the Uber, which I know. I said, can you make it in 50 minutes? Yes, sir, of course. This would not happen in Germany. So infrastructure is great. Then these digital services, if you have a problem with the police, you don't need to call a lawyer. You just go to UAE apps, comply, and report everything.
Absolutely.
Also banks. And look at the interest rate. How much is interest rate now in Dubai? It's 3 to 4%, right?
4%, yeah.
If you negotiate well and you have low risk, you might get it for 3%, which is lower than EU.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's not just the tax burden. And also, when an investor comes to me and say, Igor, I would like to invest in Dubai. Of course, we cooperate with local lawyers, what we need for local regulations, but they are looking especially for those points I just outlined. Okay. So they are looking to make money, secure, safe, to have a... also, look, Dubai has a lot of bilateral investment treaties signed with different countries.
Yes.
What this means? It means if you are coming from another country and you're making investments in Dubai and something happens, then you can bring this dispute to the arbitration court outside the UAE.
Yeah.
Of course, if your agreements are drafted well by highly leveled lawyers, let's say. So it's not only tax.
So it's just a myth that people come to Dubai only for the tax saving reasons. It's not that. It's like you said. It's the ease of doing business out here,
Yes.
the infrastructure, whether it is the hard infrastructure or the digital or the soft infrastructure,
Exactly.
yeah, the kind of business opportunities that you get out here is far greater in terms
Yes.
of ROI as
Yes.
compared to the Western world.
Hmm.
Perfect. Good to know that. What is the one thing that foreigners get surprised when they see the legal infrastructure here?
The legal what?
The legal infrastructure, whether it is the rules, regulations,
yeah.
and everything. Is it surprising to a lot of foreigners or Westerners?
Look, we have clients from different parts of the world. For example, English investors, they have the same regulations, and they somehow they understand what's happening and
Because
how
we
to
follow English law here.
Exactly, yeah. We have in Germany a little bit different, but you need to understand that in international investments, you always have kind of international law. So international law, private, I mean. Then you have treaties, conventions, then you have local, organic, and then the small one. And if one of the regulation from the UAE is not in compliance with the main treaty they signed with, then this regulation might be void. So what's the reason to comply with the small one, which are they need to align with the treaty?
With the treaty,
Right.
yeah.
So now when investors are coming here, they're first of all hiring their local lawyers, international from other countries, and they say, okay, what are my legal instruments to mitigate my risks in this country? Can I also have like swap insurance against business failure, or can I have this foreign exchange insurance or interest rate? Imagine someone is coming, investing money, and the income, the cash flow is in local dirham.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. And something happens in the market, some crisis, and the dirham is going to different, which I don't believe will happen. Then how you cover this foreign exchange risk? There is an insurance for it.
There's
you just
an
buy
insurance,
forwards.
Yeah,
exactly.
you hedge.
So-
you hedge against your revenue.
Exactly. You hedge, and you have the fixed rate for a limited period of time, how much you buy. Yeah. So the same. So investors, they can make them their homework before they're coming to UAE, and this is great about. And Dubai has also very good regulations which comply with international treaties, I would say.
Perfect. Do you think there are instances where people have realized that it's that this particular thing that they're getting into, or maybe a contract, and they've kind of made a mistake and it's too late? And in that scenario, what is the repercussion and what is the exit strategy in that scenario?
So look, first of all, I think that there are two kind of investors. Are investors which are beginning with planning, questioning, and then investing.
Yeah.
And there are, let's say, I call them venture investors or adventure investors.
Yeah.
Which they are coming, they are meeting the first real estate broker, which is good looking,
Yeah.
and say, okay, I'll buy first penthouse.
And very good on social media.
Yes. It's very good on social media, and somehow she or he convinced him to buy.
Yeah.
And this is also great. But the first kind of investors, they are doing homework by asking a lot of questions. There is a questionnaire which they make to the lawyers asking.
Sorry to interrupt. Yeah, I'm very sorry. But let's concentrate more on the second, the adventurer, because that's what the audience wants to hear.
Yeah,
The seasoned investor knows what he wants.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
we want to target the adventurer,
Yeah,
that what
yeah.
he should be doing. So in that scenario, what would you say?
I would say that real estate brokers are doing a great job in Dubai
Yeah.
by convincing this kind of investors, and I call them also emotional investors, because they're not looking too much at ROI, and if they look, they just is the second plan. So first they make an emotional move, and these people may buy these properties either for their families, but it depends how much money they have. Because look, if you invest all your money in a huge mansion in Dubai, which is not providing ROI, then I think it's a mistake. First of all, when you come in Dubai, let's make a case study.
Yes.
An
let's
investor
do
is
that.
coming with 10 million euro.
Yeah.
So if he will buy with this 10 million euro apartments, rent, and from the rent, they will buy his apartment, his penthouse, you think it's a good idea?
Yeah, you can always
I think it's a bad idea. Then if he buys with all money, he buys a mansion and he doesn't have any rental income, it's also a bad idea.
Yeah.
So a good idea is always when you have 10 million euro, you go to the bank, you leverage with a bank loan with just 3%, 3.5.
Mm.
10 million multiplied with 4 is 40 million.
40 million.
Exactly. So now from this 40 million ROI, if it's 10%, then how much it is?
Even 6% is
400
2.4 million.
400,000 per year, right? Now subtract the cost of debit, the cost of the credit you pay 3%.
Yeah.
And if you divide the remaining amount to the equity you invested, this is much more than you will invest your own equity. So my approach to investments is always use others people money. There is no need to use your equity. Yeah, many will say, yeah, he's speaking about, but there are people which they want to get rid of banks. They don't trust banks. They don't want to have this fear of recovering debt and so on. But this is not about Dubai.
But that's always the stigma. You very rightly said that is always the stigma with a lot of people, is that they don't want to leverage themselves because, for example, unfortunately, we are in this kind of geopolitical issue. Yeah, at that point of time, everybody's cash flows are disturbed.
No.
Yeah.
Wasim, this is the biggest misconception.
Okay.
What you're telling me about is exactly many investors are making the same mistake. They think, yeah, but if this is a crisis, then I'll need to pay the debt back. They'll go against me, against my family. That's not right.
Okay.
Look, if you invest 10 million euro and you get 30 from the bank, it means you have, how much is in percentage? Maybe it's
25%.
Let's say 25, 75, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. 25 is your equity.
Yes.
75 is bank equity. How much is the risk of the bank?
75%.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you share the risk in the deal with the bank, right? Now, coming back to the fear of going after the debtor. Okay, how you should make the structure in such a way that you are not taking this personal guarantee and your house, your children, your wife is safe. You just set up an SPV with non-recourse against the SPV. It means everything the bank gave you, they need to take it back from the SPV, from the company, which is limited liability. They don't take it from you as a physical person, right?
Got it.
You don't need to go to the bank as a physical person and say, give me 30 million. This is a mistake.
Okay.
You should set up a company, share the risk with the bank. One more thing. When you are buying an investment with the bank, who is doing due diligence?
The bank.
Exactly. So they're taking risk. They're doing due diligence. They're putting money on the table. And if you negotiate well, then all risks and problems are only in the SPV, in the special purpose vehicle, this company.
So you're not personally liable for any losses that happen in the company.
Yes, exactly.
But the assets are also then owned by the company. It's not your personal assets.
Yeah, it's okay. Absolutely owned by the company. But I mean, if something happened in the worst case scenario, war, COVID, crisis, I don't know. Okay, the bank goes against the company, takes the assets, put on the market, sell diligently. They will take their debt back. They will give to the investor money back left. Okay, and but once again, for Dubai, I don't think someone needs to think too much about crisis, because the crises in Dubai are like this,
Yeah.
maybe coming, then slow down, and
Very fast.
You know how I calculate this risk in Dubai? I always say that if you have a portfolio of investments, not just in Dubai, but in many jurisdictions, you have an investment in London, in New York, in Tokyo, and Dubai, you have a portfolio. And if one of the assets is not performing well, another from another jurisdiction is performing well, and then you have always this competitive advantage of, let's say, 10% worldwide.
Yeah.
So, and the risk
risk is distributed in different jurisdictions.
Exactly.
But one point here, when traditionally the banks take a guarantee, personal guarantee from the directors of the company as well, right? So doesn't it negate your concept of not being personally liable?
No, this is the subject of negotiation with the bank.
Okay.
You should always sit down with the bank and say, look, if you over regulate my loan agreement and you want too much guarantees, I will not work with you. It's very simple. And you need to prove through financial scenarios. You need to always make two scenarios, pessimistic, optimistic. You need to speak in their language.
Yes.
Because I have my education in banking and finance, I know how to speak with banks. And when we are going to negotiation with the bank, we always put in the shoes of the bank and say, look, I'm speaking like your language.
Yeah.
This is pessimistic scenario, this is optimistic. For example, in Germany, the European Central Bank, they are doing so-called risk assessment of the all financial institutions in EU.
Yeah.
And when they're doing this risk assessment,
that's mandated by the central bank.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So when they are doing this risk assessment, they're doing exactly like this: optimistic, pessimistic, based on track history, track record, and they come with a conclusion. Here is a capital shortfall. Here is a risk. Here is not risk. The same when you go to the bank, you sit down and say, look, your risk is just 1% because you found a good asset. Of course, if you go to the bank with an asset which market values 10 million and you buy it for 11 million,
they're not going to do that.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So it's all about you to shop the exact real estate to bring to the table to the bank.
Makes sense.
And they will not ask you personal guarantee. If they ask, leave the table and don't make the same mistake everybody is doing. One door bank syndrome. You need to visit 100 banks and then you'll find the right one.
Yes. There's a lot of time people, especially while signing contracts, they just ignore reading the contracts and understanding the contracts, right? What is the most important clause that an investor? Let's take real estate as an example, or mortgage for real estate as an example, and say which is the most important clause an investor should concentrate on.
Look, there is no miracle to have one pill and to treat all your contract. There are several provisions, which you call it clause, we call it provisions, or condition precedent, also call in the agreement you should have in order to be safe. Unfortunately, many investors, when they come to the table to buy a property, in 80% of the cases, they don't negotiate because they are thinking this is not possible to negotiate an agreement. And of course, there are two kinds of cases. So case number one, people buy a small apartment and a developer will never negotiate this agreement because this agreement is already typical. And if they need to change, they need to ask again lawyers to change for everybody or only for this specific person. And they will not do this. Yeah? And in this case, solution is the following. You need to read carefully the agreement and make sure all provisions you want to have there in the agreement. And if they are not, then calculate what is the risk of delay, for example. What is the risk if the developer doesn't have an escrow account? What is the risk if they have in the past delayed projects and so on? So you need to prepare. What I will do as a simple investor, I will just count those problems in my future return. You know what I mean? So the return should be bigger. Yeah. Because risk and reward, they are going together. Yeah. So in case number two, investors, when they buy like 5-10 apartments, they are allowed, I believe always, when they buy like one building or 2 levels or 3 levels, they are allowed always to come to the developer and renegotiate the agreement. So I believe in this case, you can do it.
Yeah. So this was my next question. There is a normal practice within real estate and within banking. Yeah. Is that either the bank or the developer, the sale purchase agreement or the mortgage agreement that they issue you is non-changeable. There's no alteration to that. The investor either signs this or the deal is canceled.
This is another misconception.
Exactly.
As I explained, if you are doing good business, if you are scaling, of course, if you buy for 1 million euro, nobody will change this, as I said. But you need to make sure, and once again, regarding the scalability and risks in projects, if you pull together with your friends, with your company, with your family, you make a club deal and you buy not one apartment, but 20.
Yeah.
Then it will be easily to negotiate the interest rate of the bank, will be easily to renegotiate the terms of the loan agreement, will be easy to negotiate with the developer. So that's why always the biggest mistake investors are making that they're doing a loan. alone. They are not trying to raise capital from other people.
Yeah.
Because, there is a financial market with a lot of private equity, big sharks,
Yes.
which are investing. And then there are like
Small retail investors.
yes, and there are a lot of people. Someone is there. For example, if you'll open your Instagram account or your LinkedIn, I'm sure you will find 10 people which has 100,000 euro.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So now you are allowed to meet with them and say, guys, you know me, you trust me. What if we pull together this money and you all together 100 plus 10
Create a fund.
Yes.
Yeah, for investment.
Maybe not a fund, because to have a regulated fund is quite complicated. You just make a internal club deal between you. Okay, you need to comply with the local rules, which I'm not allowed to tell you now. And this is a gray zone, for example, we have in Germany. So you are not a regulated fund, but in the meantime, with your friends, your family members, you set up a club deal, a family office.
So it's like a limited partnership, basically.
Yes, exactly. Yes, limited liability partnership. And with your partners, you go to the bank, you choose who from you is a lead partner.
Yeah.
You go to the bank and say, hey, my name is Vasim. I have 1 million euro. I just want another 3 million. So with 4 million, you'll have more chances to renegotiate the loan agreement
and get a better deal
with developer, better deal, and leverage effect, of course.
Very true. Very true. So we've spoken about how to get into contracts, how to analyze funding. Yeah. What about the exit strategy? What is a lot of people enter investments and jurisdictions without clearly defining what their exit strategy is. Yeah. What would be your advice to them?
Asim, this is the great question, because many they're entering in deals without knowing the exit strategy. So first of all, before entering, you need to make a plan how you will exit. Yeah. What are your expectations? What are the expectations of other partners, of banks, and so on? The problem is that it's all about emotional investments, because financial investors, they always have strategy in place.
Yeah.
They always have strategy. And it depends. If you are speaking about companies, then it depends on the risk appetite of those investors. If they have big risk, they need to look at a bigger reward. For example, we have clients, they invest only 30% in a good company.
Yeah.
For example, you have a company. There are investors. We have in our database like thousands of investors. They are looking to invest their money. And they look to invest in 30% of the company, which has a huge upstream value. Then they wait 1, 2, 3 years. They help with lawyers. Sometimes we go lawyers in the company they bought, and we make compliance, we have GDPR, all these terms and conditions. They even don't have terms and conditions on their webpage, which is a huge risk. So
you act as venture capitalists and then exit at a premium valuation
and
later.
They exit later. So they have in mind when to exit, which market, and the strategies are different. The strategy of exit is not just to sell your shares. They might go to IPO.
Yeah.
They might
follow-on issues,
a merger with another company, which is also an exit. They might be absorbed by another company, is also an exit. So the strategies are a lot. It depends which kind of investors. If we are speaking about real estate, which is maybe very simple to understand for our audience, then you need to calculate what will be your internal rate of return for the whole period of holding these assets. People are making a huge mistake of calculating just a general ROI without subtracting expenses and also inflation.
True.
Which is very important. And compare this with the opportunity cost of capital in the market.
Correct.
They're not doing this. Some people, they make like the same 3% per year like a bank.
Yes.
This is the biggest mistake.
You're absolutely right. People are very emotional towards their investment rather than being very practical and understanding the numbers.
Look, I'm renting an apartment here, and I'm asking to the landlord, hey, how much money you make per year? Yeah, 6. I made a calculation. He's not making 6. He's making 3%.
Yeah.
And say, why are not selling this apartment? Leverage, because I have a very good credit history as a local guy, and invest your money and make more return on equity. And of course, it was also emotional investment.
Emotional investment. Yes. They're emotionally attached to the real estate, which should not be the case.
But what I don't understand in this kind of behavior, I don't understand because they're lying to themselves, because they're saying, yeah, I don't care about too much money because it's enough for me and so on. But when it comes to a huge payment, something happens.
Yes.
Nowadays,
Yes.
you need to pay a very costly intervention in the hospital.
Right.
You have a big dispute with someone and you need a very expensive lawyer. I've seen people spending like millions on lawyers.
On lawyers, yeah.
Yeah, just to get out from the
Of
jail.
certain
So,
issues, yeah.
Yeah, or something happens, I don't know, a divorce. So you always need to have this backup plan. They're just counting on salary, on some small return, and this is not enough. In my opinion, if you have a few millions of euro in the account, you are broke. You're not rich, you're broke. You need to take care of you, of your family, of your kids. Because they're thinking, yeah, okay, I have 2-3 apartments, I'm doing well. No, guy, you're not doing well. You're broke.
What is the figure according to you that is that gets you in the wealthy bracket?
Look, I always say that you need to spend for all your wishes 10% from your investments.
Yeah.
But when I say this, I say you need to calculate everything in advance. You know, to raise a child nowadays, it costs you around €500,000. From the day of birth until the 18 years old.
No, more.
More. Okay,
More,
I am
much
saying
more. Much more.
minimum. Yeah. I have 6 kids. And I say that every kid is an investment. Who is performing well, I'm investing more.
More on that.
Who is not performing, I'm cutting the finance.
So you're treating your kids as an investment, huh?
Yes, of course. Look, if you don't have, if you don't give a good education in kids, if you don't give them enough time, love, and support, of course they'll not grow. But if you are giving everything and they're not growing, and they're just staying and scrolling in Instagram, then of course this is not a good investment.
But higher education in Europe and in North America is expensive. Yeah, that's why countries like Dubai are getting more prominence, because you're getting the same level of education at a fraction of the cost.
Yeah. And you can also do homeschooling here.
Yes, you can. Yeah, yes. But since when we're talking about universities, you rather send your child to a university on the campus to have the experience of studying, rather than homeschooling.
My opinion on this is the following. First of all, I believe in 5, maximum 10 years from now, universities will disappear.
It's happening now.
Because of artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
What Harvard School is doing and other universities around the world, this is just marketing.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just marketing to maintain these people in the schools. If you will be a shareholder in the university, of course you will promote your idea of enrolling students, right?
Absolutely.
So,
and these are for-profit organizations. So imagine you look at Harvard. What is the value or the amount of investment they have in their corpus to invest in the markets? Yeah? They make tons of money just on their cash balances that they have.
I remember when I finished my last master in law and finance, the photo of the whole class was in Financial Times. And we got a lot of calls from big private equity funds saying, hey, would you like to work for me? Would you like to work for me? Now, we have people working like for 50,000-60,000 euro per month for these private equity firms or these sharks.
Wow.
But even so, I think they are selling their time cheap because I'm not employed with them. So, but if you would ask me 5 years ago, I would not have the same opinion. Now I'm looking what's happening. If you have a question, you put in ChatGPT. If you don't trust ChatGPT, you take it, copy paste, you put in Gemini. You take from Gemini, you put in Cloud, in Cloud, and so on. Will the professor in university be smarter than all these 3 softwares?
Not at all.
No.
So I want to come back to that point again, which I asked you, is that give me a figure here. Yeah. And this is going to be a figure based on general terms. We cannot, everybody has specific requirements, but let's generalize this. One figure in your bank that is good to take care of you for your lifetime. Assuming a person is in his 40s or 50s. Yeah. Let's
look, if you have less than 10 million euro equity into account, you are broke.
So 10 million makes you wealthy.
From my experience, at least 10 million to survive. This is a survival mode. don't understand that you are rich. You are not rich.
I want you to give me a figure which you will categorize as wealthy, not survival. Wealthy.
Wealthy, then you need to have at least 50 million euro into account. I'll explain you why. Okay. Because 20 years ago, you went to the market to buy foods, right? You paid maybe $50, or I don't know how it is locally, for a full crop of foods.
Okay.
Now you're going to a market. If you buy everything you need for a few days, you need to pay like 300, 500 euro.
Yeah.
So why? Because are printed too much money. So your money does not have the same value you had 20 years ago. Now, not only this, everything got expensive.
Yes.
Imagine if you don't have a proper insurance. You have a classical insurance, but does not cover this. We just had a case with an insurance company. We won a case of 20 million euro against an insurance company. They didn't want to pay a guy which was insured like 15 years.
Wow.
Yeah. So and if you become, let's say, you cannot work anymore.
Yeah.
And you have a family full of kids, wife, parents, and a lot of stuff. What you do? So your money will go like in a few years.
Disappear in a few years.
Disappear.
Yeah. So coming back, based on our conversation, I believe you don't believe in cash is king, right?
Look, I believe in assets which generate cash flow. I believe in a well-educated people which they know what they're doing.
So you're in the cash flow camp rather than cash is king camp.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah? Okay.
So because cash flow is like the blood in our body. So without cash flow, you can have cash, but if you don't have enough cash flow on this cash, because money should bring money.
Yes.
Money should make babies.
Yes.
And if you don't have this blood every month, and you need to understand that also the financial formulas, internal rate of return, for example, is calculated in such a way that when your capital brings immediately money from the day one, this means that your IRR is good.
Yeah.
If you have like a flip and you invest in a villa and then you wait for capital appreciation for 3-4 years, this is not a good cash flow. This is a trap. People think, okay, I'll invest now in a villa 10 million. I will wait 3-4 years and then I'll have a capital appreciation of 40%. But this is a mistake because you need to discount how many years? Inflation all these years, business expenses to maintain this property, and the risk of not being able to take out equity.
Very interesting point. You know, a majority of the investors in UAE real estate have invested with the same premise that we'll buy off plan, we'll sell it on completion, and we'll make tons of money in capital appreciation. Yeah?
Yeah.
Which certain times is successful, certain times it's not successful based on what you've bought, right? So you don't believe in that strategy.
This strategy is good if it's well structured from all point of view, tax, legal, KPIs in finance.
Yeah.
Because if you are not planning very well, then at the end of the day, and I would say Dubai is the most beautiful location to invest in off-plan because you have like better security in other jurisdictions.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, if you don't prepare your homework and you are not calculating exactly how much money you are making, because imagine you invested in off-plan, you're waiting for 5 years. This money, if you invested in other projects, this means opportunity of capital. So if you invest in other projects, you would have more return and less risk.
But we'll compare real estate with real estate. We'll compare different strategies within real estate, not real estate to owning a business or, owning something else.
Every case is different.
Yeah.
But I've seen cases I'm asking, hey, how much money did you make in these 4 years? 1 year was delay. And he said, I made up to 100%. And when I calculated exactly how much money he invested, when, exact point in time, and what was the inflation in this point of time, and what he lost because he invested here and not in other projects. And by the end of the day, it's not 100%, but it's just 20. You know, like I have people investing in crypto and they're saying, I earn so much money. I'm explaining, my friend, how much is the risk?
Yeah.
Did you ever calculate how much is the risk? One of the German guy, old already, he was crying in front of me, losing all money in crypto. And I said, remember I told you, you need to count and price the risk of this investment. How much is the risk in crypto? If you ask my opinion, is around 70.
Wow. But
So,
crypto,
and
crypto
when you discount for risk, what is your return? So,
but crypto investment is more so, in my opinion, I might be wrong, is more so more of a FOMO effect and more of, social media frenzy rather than the actual analysis of why you should be investing in crypto. What is blockchain? What is the infrastructure behind that crypto rather than just buying because it's going up?
It's a good idea because they took banks and bankers outside of the game. Look what's happening.
But it's not regulated.
It's not regulated. I understand.
In that scenario, you'd rather buy gold. Gold has given better returns than S&P over the past 10 years, right?
Yeah. So if you would ask me, I would say if they find a way. So I think the guy which will invent this, how to manage the risk in virtual assets in such a way that you are secured 100%. There are some insurance companies which secure if you have an accident. The same instrument, if they will find an instrument how to secure the risk 100% with virtual assets, with a backup like banks are doing, then he'll be very rich.
I'm sure Dubai will come up with something like that. I'm sure Dubai will come up with something like that. Okay. Coming back to real estate investments, I just want to clarify this one. What if there are two partners or two holders of the same property, owner one, owner two? One of the owners refuses to sell. What happens in that scenario? Or not sell, exit that asset?
I suppose you're talking about joint venture agreements, right?
No, not joint venture. For example, you and me have bought a property together. Yeah. We are on the title deed. I want to sell, you don't want to sell.
Simple buy of a property with registration in DLD. Yeah?
Yes.
Look, once again, I will not tell you regarding local law, but I will tell you how happens in
a legal
European
recourse.
Law. Yes.
A legal recourse, yeah.
Yes. First of all, before entering in such agreements with someone, you need to sign a piece of paper regulating exactly how much money is investing everybody. What is the exit strategy when, how much, when I achieve some milestones, for example. Yeah. What if another party refuses to sell? So you need to have, and I'm sure local lawyers and DLD department is providing also these templates.
Yes.
Yeah, it should be very simple. Once again, Basim, what's the main problem of investors also regarding this question? They're lazy to make a piece of paper.
Yeah.
Nowadays, you don't need a highly expensive lawyer. You just at least go in ChatGPT and ask these questions. He will make you a piece of paper.
But I always tell investors, I know Dubai in terms of rules and regulations is the best, but always take an assistance of a qualified professional, whether it is your lawyer, whether it is a registered real estate broker. Always get their expert opinion and then enter into any deal. Without that, you
also I will give you a very practical advice regarding lawyers. When you look for a lawyer, what you are doing? You are asking friends.
Yeah.
Looking in social media, who is mostly active.
That's like a real estate broker nowadays. Huh?
Maybe you
look at the followers of that broker and then you go and talk to them.
Yeah, but this is a mistake.
Yeah, true.
If you want a good lawyer, there is a lot of databases worldwide.
Okay.
And these databases, you just fulfill which kind of lawyer you're looking for and which projects you can see in which projects he worked in. For
His
example,
expertise, basically.
Yes, you have a DLD problem, okay?
Yeah.
So you go in Legal 500, Chambers and Partners, IFLR 1000. For example, I'm also part of these directories. And you choose based on which cases he own exactly with this kind of topic you are having. And you also choose the pricing because we have lawyers with 1,000 euro per hour. We have lawyers with 200 euro per hour. But nevertheless, like in real estate brokerage, you're looking DLD, how many deals he did. It's the same with lawyers.
Same with lawyers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So always go with qualified people within
Qualified people, because if you lose at the end of this deal, like a few thousands of euro or more, maybe it doesn't make sense. But when you lose a lot of money, just also discount as a business expense. And it depends on the country's lawyer fees. You can offset against the taxes. If you need to pay tax 5,000 euro and you pay a lawyer 2,500, then you pay taxes from the remaining. It's deductible. Yeah. Why you should do economy on this?
So coming back, I know that you're a big proponent of leverage. Yeah. What according to you is a reasonable figure in terms of good leverage, and what is something which is bad leverage? Let's put it in percentage terms based on a person's net worth. How much would you recommend that based on a person's net worth, this is the percentage you should take leverage, and above this percentage, that leverage is bad for you?
Look, leverage from loans should be always be 100%. This is the best deal.
100%?
I'll explain you why. Yes.
Of your net worth?
Look, no, I mean, when I'm saying leverage, I mean that bank is leveraged with 100% and you invest zero.
No,
this is what I mean.
My question is that, for example, a person is worth 100 million euros.
I mean, how much he needs to take from the bank?
How much should he safely take from the bank, even though the bank offers him, say, 100 million, 100% of what his net worth is?
No.
How much should he take, considering that he doesn't want to get into a bad financial situation? God forbid something happens. He doesn't want to get into a bad situation later on.
Wasim, my answer is the following. You should always take as much as you can, because money is garbage. Money is just paper. You don't need to hold. When you are saying I have equity 100 million, and I want to leverage the bank only 10 million.
Not only equity, my total net worth is 100
total
million.
Net worth.
Yeah.
But look, the scalability of the project always comes with the leverage of other people's money.
Yes.
If you are having in your account or assets in total 100 million, and then you leverage only 10 million, what's happening with the rest? Are they performing? Do they bring money or not? If they're not performing, not bringing money, this is like garbage sitting in your account. You need to always think in terms of scalability. Look what's happening in USA. People are moving trillions. The debt of America is more than the debt of any country in the world.
It's
Why?
more than the GDP of America.
Yes, exactly. Why? Because they understood the concept. Money is just paper. When people come to me and say, look, I don't have money to invest. If I would have it, I would be rich. I'll be like you. It's not about this. I told you, I left my family house from my parents at 14 years old with no money in the pocket. Of course, in the beginning, I studied, but then I understood how money works. You don't need money to invest. I'll give you this following example. You want to buy an apartment. During this crisis, you have visited 3 apartments. None of them is in a good price because of course, some real estate brokers will want to have a better price, right? What if you visit 100 apartments, and from 100 apartments in 1 month, you find one which is a good value, under market value, maybe distressed.
Yeah.
The market value is 10 million euro, but you buy it for 7. You go to the bank with this 7 million asset and say, look, I want to finance on this apartment. The bank will evaluate and say, oh my God, this is my liquidation value actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will finance 100%.
But the regulations don't allow them to finance 100% on that asset.
Of course.
Even if it's distressed value.
Of course allow. It depends how you propose this deal to the bank.
You mean to say a person in UAE can take a mortgage up to 100% on a real estate,
100%
of a real estate asset?
If you prove to the bank that this asset is much, much less than the market value, because what you are bringing, imagine you have a house, yeah? If I'm thinking now of in terms of financials, you have a house, your house costs 10 million euro in the market. You're coming to the bank and say, I would like to squeeze my equity out, which means is your asset, your money, you want to take only part of the money. The rest, it remains as your equity. The bank is giving you 7%, 7 million on the house, 3 remains your equity, right? Why you should bring money to the bank? Makes no sense, right? It depends how you negotiate. It's not about these consumer retail loans where they ask all the time to invest 20, 30, of course. because they are also regulated. They need to have like instruments against the capital shortfall. This is what I'm speaking about is a huge deal, big deals from the investment side.
So again, from the retail investment apart, if you're negotiating a bigger deal, there is always room for, according to you, to increase the percentage of LTV against the asset.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
It depends how
you negotiate.
But then
again, yes, my point was that only. You come up to that question of negotiating well with the bank.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
A lot of people here don't negotiate well with banks and developers, essentially.
This is a very interesting topic. And in my last 20 years of experience, I was always using negotiation tactics and trying to find the interest of the people. Because, we are negotiating every day.
Yeah, that's our job.
We are at home, we negotiate with our kids, wife. We are at work, we negotiate with our employees. But when it comes to sell something, you need to implement very strict rules which are very known. And I think I'm an expert in this, and I will launch a series of courses on negotiation, how to get to yes, because this topic is coming with a lot of interesting things. Look, for example, when real estate broker is speaking to an investor, he needs to find the real interest of this investor. When you speak in the first minutes, he will not tell you the real interests. He will answer different. If you ask, hey, why you are looking to invest, especially in this building, he'll say, yeah, because. So when you ask other indirect questions, actually you will find out that this is a financial investment and not an emotional investment. And if you find the real interest of the party, you know how to handle, how to manage expectation of this investor, because sometimes you're proposing to an investor something he doesn't like, and even the investor didn't tell you the truth.
I know. What is the mistake in that? It's not the investor. It's the salesperson, whether it is a broker or anything that you're selling. What mistake they do is that they talk more than they listen. Initially, you need to be listening more, understand the client rather than put your opinion forward.
I'll give you one example. A seller is coming and saying, okay, I want to sell this apartment for 5 million. The buyer says, but look, in the market, there are just 4 and the 5. How you can sell it for 5?
Yeah.
And if you are a good negotiator, you will try to use a tactic which is called objective criteria in the market, which brings your seller to the same level of understanding like you.
Yeah.
Because if you bring him you have a very nice Dubai Interact, I believe, here locally.
Yeah.
You show him, look, all apartments are less than 4.5. This is objective criteria in the market.
Yes.
Would you like to sell more? This is speculation already. So, and you try to bring him to this objective criteria. And then another tactic is you need to understand what is the BATNA of the seller and the buyer, which means a better alternative negotiated agreement. So, or what is the WATNA? And then in negotiation, they always are some tactics like 2 people, one is playing aggressive, one is soft, and so on. But these tactics are not widely used, especially I don't recommend it for
No,
Dubai.
but I definitely, you're right when you say that, people should understand the comps, what is available. Yeah. So in negotiation, you always go with what is the actual value of the asset.
Yes.
You as a salesperson need to explain that either to your buyer or your seller what the actual market value is.
Yes.
Yeah. Then, once that is ascertained, then everybody objectively knows, this is what the value is. Of course, then you negotiate based as a benchmark.
Yeah.
The comps.
And many deals fail because when they come to, let's say they have the right price, they have the right interests, but the seller does not the buyer doesn't want to buy. Then you need to step in the second phase, which is options. You should always sit at the table and discuss at least 5 options. So they are not giving options. Real estate broker is very straight, say, you don't want to buy? Okay, then see you, buy. No, sit down and find options.
But that changes from market to market. So in a good market, the real estate broker doesn't want to give you options. In a bad market, he wants to give you 100 options.
Yes,
and then the seller, the buyer feels that it's, the market is really, really bad.
Yes.
Which is not true.
Yeah.
You should, but I think 5 options is also quite a lot.
Yeah.
I think 3 options are good for you to understand what the buyer's perspective is, what his choice is. Based on that, then of course you can increase or decrease the number of options. But I think 3 is a good figure for you to understand what the buyer's criteria
Imagine
is.
the same case study. A buyer is coming. He's seen 2-3 apartments, like a portfolio.
Yeah.
He likes a lot. He likes the returns. He likes the region. He understands the market. He has no objections. The only one problem, he does not have enough money to buy. What you do as a real estate broker, you ask the right question.
That should be
And if he is not, let's say, some buyers, they're like ashamed of, I don't have enough money. But if you have ask the right questions and the broker finds out the real interest, he might give the following option. Look, I have another client. He doesn't also have enough money. Let's put you guys together and buy this portfolio with 2 guys in DLD.
But that, don't you think that should be, as a salesperson, that should be one of the first few questions that you ask the buyer? What his cash flow is, what is his availability of cash?
What I teach in my negotiation courses is the following. We have a template of homework script, which they, before meeting with the client, 2-3 hours in advance, he's doing his homework. He's writing down what's the bottom line, what's the interest, which questions to ask. He's searching about this buyer if he has open information, what's his interest, what's his hobbies. Because look, negotiation is not about taking a deal and then making someone in bad situation, but to have a win-win situation for both parties. And sometimes I've had this experience when I spoke with investors, and after a few months, he called me and said, actually, you discovered what's my interest. I like this.
Exactly.
Because they doesn't know what
their thought process is.
And they live in
a lot of purchases are done keeping emotions in mind, not the practicality of purchases.
They have fears.
Yes,
they have fears.
Yeah.
They have different, let's say, misconceptions like we discussed today.
Yeah.
And they don't know the market. So you need to communicate a lot, and you are right, you need to listen also. More than 70% of the time.
Absolutely.
So
agree.
Thank you
very much for your
listening
time.
Me today.
No, my pleasure. You learn a lot in this conversation. Yeah. Thank you very much for your time, and hopefully we'll get you for another session.
I'll be more than happy.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, subscribe, and please also leave a comment.